In a modern, knowledge-driven society, information has a short shelf life. Memorizing facts is no longer a viable strategy because facts are constantly being replaced. To understand how we adapt to this, we have to look at the science of learning. Learning is defined as a relatively permanent change in an individual's behavior that results from experience. This diagram maps the relationship between learning and teaching. If learning is the internal state change, teaching is the external directional vector forcing that change. It is the purposeful direction and management of the learning process. Teaching is a highly structural process. It operates as an organized mechanism rather than a monolithic transfer of facts from one person to another. To achieve the long-term goal of educating a student, an instructor must construct a specific outcome-based hierarchy. This instructional hierarchy is designed to move learners progressively through a cognitive architecture. The architecture operates on three distinct planes: memory, understanding, and reflective. These levels are strictly progressive. A student cannot reach the higher levels of cognition without first establishing the lower foundations. Effective teaching is the systematic process of moving a mind up this specific cognitive structure, step by step. This 3D structure illustrates the architecture, starting with the foundational stage, the memory level of teaching, pioneered by Herbart. Its specific objective is inducing rote memorization, focusing entirely on retaining basic facts. This operates as a strict stimulus response, or SR, environment. The teacher provides a stimulus, and the student provides the memorized response. In this classroom dynamic, the teacher's role is highly active, transmitting discrete data blocks. The student's role is strictly passive, receiving and recalling that data. Operating at this level does not inherently increase a student's intelligence. Rote memorization alone is limited, but it is a necessary prerequisite. The memory level provides the bedrock required to support all higher-order learning. We can now see the intermediate stage of the hierarchy form, the understanding level of teaching, championed by Morrison. This tier is categorized as memory plus insight. Here, the objective shifts away from rote retention. It requires the student to recognize relationships, generalizations, and underlying principles. Notice how the discrete, isolated data blocks from the memory base are now connected by relational lines. They form a functional network. Achieving this requires a dramatic shift in the classroom dynamic. Both the teacher and the pupil must now assume equally active roles to assimilate these facts into a cohesive understanding. The focus of this level is true mastery of the subject matter, moving past simple recall and into application. The understanding level transforms isolated facts into an interconnected, usable map of knowledge, upgrading the learner's intellectual behavior. Finally, we reach the highest tier of the architecture, the reflective level. This level is deeply introspective. It requires the highest degree of cognitive engagement from the learner. This tier relies on the previously memorized facts and established relationships from the lower levels to generate entirely new, independent vectors of thought. The primary pedagogical objective here is to foster deep, independent problem-solving and critical thinking. At this stage, the student's cognitive capacity must operate autonomously from the teacher's direct input. The reflective level marks the point where a student transitions from a consumer of information into a dynamic creator of new knowledge. To apply this architecture effectively, educators must use precise terminology and know exactly what teaching is not. This Venn diagram maps two frequently conflated concepts against our definition of teaching: training and indoctrination. Training is the process of equipping candidates with highly specific, technical, or job-related skills. It is narrower in scope than the broader behavioral changes targeted by teaching. Indoctrination is the impression of specific beliefs upon a learner. There is a critical, unidirectional rule of logic connecting teaching and indoctrination. Teaching can occur without indoctrination, but indoctrination cannot exist without teaching. Maintaining strict definitions of these terms allows educators to accurately calibrate their methods and recognize the ethical limits of their instruction. We can now take these theoretical models and apply them to the practical reality of an academic institution. This document represents a syllabus. It is merely a descriptive outline of topics covered in a course. Contrast this with a curriculum. The curriculum is a much wider boundary, encompassing the syllabus, academic work, and all co-curricular experiences a student undergoes. Educators engineer a total curriculum, moving past the delivery of a simple document to manage the entire student experience. Every instructional objective within this curriculum must be highly specific, measurable, and outcome-based. The curriculum acts as a continuous guiding path. It deliberately moves a learner from the memory base through the understanding layer to the reflective apex. The intended learning outcomes must align with the appropriate cognitive level. You cannot test reflective skills if you only taught at the memory level. By systematically aligning measurable objectives with this three-tier architecture, educators fulfill their professional purpose. They permanently upgrade the cognitive architecture of the next generation.
Lit Phoenix Box here. Let's make our voice heard. Light up the like button, join our flock by subscribing, share the story to spread the spark and help me grow like you. Tell me in the comments what you thought was lit about this adventure.
Thank you.